News this morning as an early morning diesel fuel leak in West Fargo has led to an emergency road closure.
Fire crews responding to the intersection of 7th Avenue Northeast and 13th Street Northeast in West Fargo. It happened just after midnight. The West Fargo Fire Department says when crews arrived on scene, they found that a truck had sprung a leak while driving down 7th Avenue Northeast.
This prompted the West Fargo Police Department to section off this part of the road and block off a nearby water drainage system until that spill could be properly cleaned up. Fire officials say at this time no fuel leaked into any nearby waterways or drainage systems.
Most of the fuel was pumped out of the leaking truck and taken from the scene to prevent any further leaks. And sand trucks are going to be brought in to help reduce the impact of the remaining fuel still on the ground there.
The West Fargo Fire Department says 7th Avenue Northeast, just west of 10th Street Northeast to 13th Street Northeast, are going to be closed today to allow for proper cleanup, which is expected to be complete this afternoon.